Let's talk about one of the most clever but kinda overlooked parts in your car, the differential. It's this mechanical marvel that works silently right underneath you, and trust me, without it, every single turn you make would be a huge struggle. We're gonna find out why.
I mean, really think about it. Every time you take a corner, whether it's a gentle curve on the highway or a sharp turn into a parking spot, there's this amazing piece of engineering that's keeping your car from literally fighting itself. So how does it do that?
Well, to really get the solution, we first need to understand the problem. And it all boils down to some pretty basic physics that every car on the road has to solve. Think of it like you're running on a track. The person in the outside lane has to cover way more ground to finish a lap than the person on the inside, right? Your car's wheels face that exact same puzzle. On every turn, the outer wheel is on this wider arc and it just has a longer path to travel. So what if both wheels were just locked together on one solid axle, forced to spin at the exact same speed? Well, you'd have a huge problem. One wheel would have to slip and drag and basically scrub itself along the pavement. We're talking shredded tires, terrible handling, and a serious loss of traction. It would be an incredibly clunky and unstable way to get around.
And this is where the hero of our story comes in, the differential. It's this totally ingenious device that just elegantly solves this entire turning mess. At its very core, its whole job is to split the engine's power and let those two drive wheels rotate at different speeds. It sounds simple, but the way it pulls it off is just pure mechanical brilliance. The magic all happens inside this special little bundle of gears, and right at the center of it all is the most important one, the spider gear. It sits right between the two side gears that connect to your wheels, and how it moves is the key to this whole operation.
Okay, check this out. When you're driving in a straight line, that spider gear doesn't spin on its own axis. It just kind of goes along for the ride with the main housing, pushing both wheels at the same speed. But the second you start to turn, that little spider gear comes to life. It starts spinning, and that spinning motion lets it send more speed to the outer wheel and less speed to the inner wheel. It perfectly matches the different distances they need to cover. So cool.
And you know, the differential is actually a multitasker. On top of just handling turns, it also gives you the final gear reduction, which multiplies the engine's torque for better acceleration. Plus, it does this clever thing where it turns the power 90 degrees, from the long drive shaft coming from the engine out to the wheels.
But all this hard work, it comes at a price. This constant motion and heavy load create a whole new problem that every car owner really needs to know about: maintenance.
You know, a mechanic I was talking to put it perfectly. Every single mile you drive, this thing is moving. It's under load. It's handling the entire weight of your vehicle plus anything you're towing. It just never ever gets a break.
All that friction from those gears meshing together and turning creates a ton of heat. And unlike your engine, which has this whole fancy liquid cooling system with a radiator, the differential is just air-cooled. So over time, all that intense heat just cooks the gear oil that's supposed to be protecting it.
So here's the magic number you need to remember. If you do a lot of heavy work with your truck or SUV, I'm talking towing trailers, hauling heavy stuff, you should really plan on changing that differential fluid every 30,000 miles. It'll save you from some serious damage down the road.
Now, if you're mostly just doing lighter around-town driving, you get a little more breathing room. In that case, you can probably stretch that service out to around 60,000 miles. No problem.
The really good news here is that servicing the differential is a totally manageable job. So let's walk through what it takes.
So here's the whole thing in 6 basic steps. You start by prepping it, then you drain out all that old worn-out gunk. The next part is super important. You got to clean everything really, really well before you put on a new seal and bolt it back together. And finally, you just pump in fresh gear oil. It's a pretty straightforward process, but like we're about to see, the little details, they really matter.
Okay, now listen up, because these are the tips from the pros that'll save you a massive headache. Seriously, that first one is the golden rule. Always loosen the fill plug before you drain the fluid. The absolute last thing you want is an empty differential that you can't refill. And using a plastic scraper, that keeps you from gouging the metal, which could cause a leak that never goes away. These little things make all the difference.
So what kind of fluid do you actually put in there? Well, it depends on what you've got. Most regular cars have a standard open differential that just needs the right weight of gear oil. But, and this is a big but, if you have a performance car with a limited slip differential, or LSD, you absolutely have to add a special friction modifier. It lets the clutches inside work smoothly. If you forget it, you're going to get all sorts of weird noises, vibrations, and eventually you'll wreck. All right, so after all of that, let's bring it all home and really focus on why this matters to you as someone who owns and drives a car.
So, what's the bottom line here? The differential is absolutely essential for your car to drive the way it's supposed to. And you gotta remember, its fluid is not a lifetime fluid. It needs to be changed regularly to prevent really, really expensive repairs. Just by understanding how this amazing little device works and how to take care of it, you've become a much smarter and more empowered car owner.
Look, knowing how your car works isn't just for mechanics. It's about appreciating the incredible engineering we all rely on every single day. It kind of transforms a simple drive into a journey powered by countless hidden marvels, just like the differential.